how do you rank yourself in recruiting? Do you know where your best applicants? Do you have plenty of applicants? Even though in many cases we won't be hiring as many people today, are you developing that network to go out there so you develop relationships when things turn around, you need them? Are you going after the best people? Number two, doesn't matter how good you are at recruiting, how good are you at selection? You know the questions to ask, you know the things to do to get the information you need to have. Because it doesn't matter how good you're at recruiting if you can't pick the best ones out of it. And in reality, selection is harder today than it has probably been in the last 10 years. Yes, there are more needles out there looking for jobs. But there are two problems that have happened. One is the haystack has gotten dramatically bigger. The haystack is absolutely dramatic in the number of amount of hay that's out there, the number of people looking for jobs. The second piece is not only the haystack has gotten much bigger, the fact of the matter is it's tougher to, there's a lot of needles, but a lot of them aren't a lot sharper. Most people did not let their best people go. Now, there have been a lot of situations where there's some great people who have been let go, but we need to make sure that we're getting the best ones. How good at selection, and finally, it doesn't matter how good you are at recruiting, how good you are at selection, how good at retention. Now, I will make every single one of you on the phone better at retention right this minute. And I will tell you how to be great at retention. You will not have to write it down. You will never forget it. The key to retention is hire bad people. They never leave. So begin to look at it and say, okay, how good are you at retention? So the next question that I was going to ask is how many of you have made sure your managers have interview training and what kind of training you give them? And I think we're going to find out that most managers who have interview training or give interview training, and I hope all of you provide it. If you don't, you need to make sure, as a very key to making sure you hire the best people. Let me give you a couple of very quick one-liners. Okay, we've got the poll up. Does your organization give all the managers interview training? Yes or no? Very, very much. Let me give you a couple of keys while you answered that survey. Number one question to ask yourself is, do you only allow your best people to interview? Proven fact that A players hire A players. B players may hire A players, but they have a tendency to hire B players, and C players don't want to hire anybody better than they are. So do you only allow your best people to interview? The second piece of that, when you begin to look at, just as a piece of advice to you, which is very interesting, and probably everybody in this audience knows it, but you want to make sure that all of your managers know it, you never, ever interview with a resume in front. When you interview with a resume in front of you, what happens is that literally you allow the applicant to control the interview. So if you have an interview, and what are resumes? Literally, you know, resumes are the world's most creative writing. I keep telling the story. Maybe I need to find a new one. But a couple of months ago, I was interviewing this woman, and our resume said she was in charge of reorganizing the entire office. And I asked her what that meant, and literally her answer was, well, we moved the file cabinets. Well, in her world, that was reorganizing. In a resume, that's reorganizing the entire office. And in today's world, when you interview with a resume, resumes are what applicants want you to know.